everybody, and welcome to another episode of Book HQ. So a while ago I had said that I was going to talk about Teen Wolf, but I haven't really been feeling up to it because I was sad that it was the last season of Teen Wolf. But the video is finally here, so let's talk about it. Teen Wolf started in 2011. It was on MTV, and it's like a reboot because there's a movie starring Michael J. Fox, which is like from the 80s or the 70s or something, and basically it stars Tyler Posey and Dylan O'Brien, who you may or may not know from this movie adaptation of a book series called The Maze. And so Tyler Posey is Scott McCall, and the story basically follows the life of Scott McCall. We're in high school in Beacon Hills, and then he gets bit by a werewolf, and then all kinds of crazy and fantastic adventures ensue. Last year at the San Diego Comic-Con, they announced that it would be their last Comic-Con because this was going to be their last season, and I was like, no! It just felt so rushed. It's only 10 episodes. All the other seasons had been 12 episodes, with the exception of season 5 and season 3, which were 24 and 20 episodes respectively. So it was really short, and the problem that I had with this season was that there were so many unanswered questions. Like, usually there's like a very good sort of foundation of like history, because we know like Jeff Davis, who's the man behind Teen Wolf, is like a history buff, and so he always tries to like ground the fantasy in some kind of like historical events. And so this season, spoiler alert by the way, if you haven't seen season 6, what have you been doing with your life? I'm kidding, you probably live a really full life, but spoiler alert. So this season was about the Riders of the Storm, who ride the lightning, and they come to cities and just take everybody and then move on to the next city. Why? To what end? Where are they going? Where did they stop? Where did they come from? The other problematic was that there was a character who was introduced into the season, who was Mr. Douglas, who was a new teacher at the school, and he kind of starts off as like trying to help them, and it seems like it's trying to help them, but then actually we find out that dude was a Nazi, and he wanted to use the supernatural sort of army of the Riders of the Storm during the war. But then we discover now that what he's always wanted to do all along is he wanted them for himself, and he wants to merge the supernatural world and the natural. Why? It's on his wish list or on his bucket list or whatever. He wants to merge the two worlds. Okay. And also he's a Lowen, which I think was better explained in the second season of Grimm than it was in Teen Wolf. They mentioned that he's a Lowen, but they didn't really say why or what or how that is. They talked about how he found the Dread Doctors and how he hoped that they could help him, but then he kind of sat around in like a tank of liquid, kind of like in science class when you have like those petrified specimens in like glass jars floating around there. So he sat around in that liquid, and somehow that made him even stronger than... it's just very confusing. Okay, so he comes out and he needs to eat the pineal gland of one of the Riders of the Storm in order to control the Riders of the Storm. Argent reprises his role, and he's in there and he's tracking a serial killer who's been eating a bunch of people's pineal glands, which turns out to be Mr. Douglas. So I'm like, okay, but if Mr. Douglas really only needed to eat the pineal gland of one of the Riders of the Storm, why has he been going around eating the pineal glands of random like hikers? We see a lot of people who were in previous seasons who come back. We see Argent, who's back. We see Peter Hale, who's back. And this is something that I had been like tweeting about during the season. I was like, okay, we've got all these people back. Are we gonna get Derek Hale back? Because even in the previous like season, we even got Deucalion back for season 5. So it's like, and we got Kira's mother back for like an episode this season. And like in the other seasons, we always got Allison back in some form or another. We even got Theo back, for no apparent reason, because he wasn't really useful or helpful for anything. A really big question that I have is about Parrish. So we discovered Parrish a couple seasons back. We didn't really know what he was. Turns out he's a hellhound. So Mr. Douglas somehow can control this hellhound. We don't know how. It's not explained. he also, like, the fact that he doesn't, up to now, still hasn't figured out how to control, like, everybody else who's kind of had or gotten powers somehow or other have gained some level of control at least. Parrish, nada. My other question is about characters that used to be like central figures, main characters, who just kind of ghosted into nothingness. They just like faded to black. I speak of Deaton specifically. Deaton for me was kind of like Giles from Buffy, because he was like the wise one, the all-knowing watcher, the, you know, the holder of all the knowledge, and like he just fizzled out there. Didn't see or hear nothing from him. The season kind of felt a little bit disjointed to me, because a lot of the time it was like sort of looking at like two different wolf pack factions kind of fumbling around trying to figure things out. So like I get that they were trying to like pass the baton on from like McCall, from Scott and his original Scooby Gang, to Hayden and Spunsbury and Corey, because like they're the ones who are going to stay behind when Scott them go to college, and they're the ones who are going to continue like a good fight. So they were kind of doing their two different things on their own, and then kind of towards the end they did something together, which I think could have been better integrated, but I mean, it was okay. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Teen Wolf Season 6. If you have any comments or any answers for me or any questions, please comment in the section below. And I'm also doing a very mini giveaway. I have with me a little Teen Wolf badge. Yep. And this here Teen Wolf postcard from Canal 7, because for those of you who don't know, I live in Paris, and yeah, most of my things are going to have some kind of connection to France or Frenchness or French. So yeah, whoever, you know, comments stands a chance to win this giveaway, and I will send this stuff to pretty much anywhere in the world. So go ahead, comment, like, let me know what you think, what you thought, if you have any answers, and yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing from you. So that's it from me. Until the next episode of Book HQ, keep reading and keep watching.